So in the spirit of respect, reciprocity, and truth, we honor and acknowledge that the town site of Banff, here in Alberta, is located on traditional Treaty 7 territory. No more! No more! No more! No more!
Welcome to the Overheard podcast. We're here at the protest zone for the G7 in the Banff Fenlands. We're here with
Scott DL.
as well as
Nigel Robinson.
Nigel Robinson. Where are you guys from? What is going on down here today? What is your main goal for being here at the protest zone?
The main goal today is to bring awareness to the G7 leaders who are physically very close to us today, just a couple of alleys over. We want to tell them that it's time to take action, real action on climate change. At this point in time, much of northern Canada is on fire, and there are people that are in distress because of it. So we're specifically asking for them to take measures to reduce emissions worldwide and abide by the terms of the 2015 Paris Climate Accord.
Amazing stuff. And what about you?
Well, I echo everything Scott said, and beyond that, I work with a group called Keepers of the Water, and we currently, in my community of Cold Lake First Nations, we are facing a project called the Pathways Alliance Project, and they're essentially looking to take tons of liquid carbon and stuff it under the earth, and what they think is a climate solution. But the area doesn't actually have the basal Cambrian sandstone that they are hoping to house the tens of millions of liquefied carbon. And beyond that, these projects are very ineffective, and like the carbon will often just bubble back up to the top and release back into the atmosphere. So that's something that we're hoping to bring to the forefront today, as well as we want to stop the planned releases of tailing ponds water into the Athabasca River. It's not a safe thing to do, despite what some of the scientists from the oil companies will say. And then beyond that, we really want to stop the new coal leases in the eastern slopes of the Rocky Mountains. It's one of the most beautiful places on earth, and we're here right now, and I would hate to see this place have a whole bunch of new Australian coal mines. So those are a few of the specific issues that we're facing, but Keepers of the Water is very concerned with keeping water safe and drinkable for all.
I think we can all get down with that, especially here at the Overheard podcast. We love this place, and we want to do our best to keep it that way. What's one thing you could say to the world leaders directly if you could talk to them face to face?
If I could speak with them face to face, I'd say, stop burning our home. Our home is important to us, and the only way that we can save it is to take measures to mitigate climate change so that the floods, the hurricanes, and the wildfires that we're experiencing worldwide subside, and our kids and our grandkids can have a good life.
I would agree with you there. And for yourself?
Well, I think I'd say that I would love for them to bring Indigenous folks to the table. There's a level of knowledge that Indigenous people have and technology that exists that does not exist currently at the table when it comes to these world leaders. They say that hunter-gatherer societies are the most sustainable societies on the planet, and in North America, a lot of our societies were like that. And I think that those values are things that we're really missing today, and that's something that we could bring back, and we could really show up and be there for not only the people today but for those yet to come.
Very well said. The Overheard podcast. My name is Dan Rudel. We are here at the Fenlands in Banff at the protest zone with a couple of protesters here. What's your name? Where are you from?
I'm Zora, and I'm from Banff here. Yeah, originally from Quebec.
Awesome. What about you? Where are you from? What's your name?
I'm Katrina. I'm from Chile.
Amazing. I think I recognize you from a business that I frequent. Yeah, right on. So what are you guys here protesting today?
We are protesting for Palestine. We want the end of the genocide. We want a ceasefire now. We want protection for the Palestinian people.
Amazing. What about you?
So we're here to challenge our world leader, from the G7, because they are all complicit in funding a genocide. There is no help that has been made for people that are marching to Gaza, Canadians that are strangled in Egypt. So we want them to hear a voice and to feel like this is something that really matters to us in Banff. We stand with humanity and we stand for free Palestine.
Amazing. Is there anything you could say to the world leaders if you could speak to them directly?
Ceasefire now, stop bombing now.
And what about for yourself?
Um, Try to be consistent with your role. One of the top priority of the G7 right now is protecting the community. So how is founding a genocide protecting anyone?
A little bit of contradiction there for sure. Well, thank you guys for sharing your opinions with us. I think we can all get down with a ceasefire. Bombs are not cool. Catch you soon. You were the originator of the post that got a little bit of heat online. People saying, don't bother making signs. You're wasting your time. I just wanted to know, what would you say to them?
Like, honestly, I'm just a regular person that cares about what's going on in Palestine, and I feel like I'm not sitting at my home, like, doing nothing. Right now, we're here in the G7 protest, and we're, like, making it clear that the genocide in Gaza needs to be aired out. Yeah.
Well, I got to commend you for getting off the keyboards and actually doing something. Thank you. Welcome to the Overheard podcast. We're here outside the Fenlands at the protest zone. We're here with one of our protesters. What's your name? Where are you from?
My name's Dominic. I'm from Calgary.
Calgary. What brings you down to protest here today?
Well, I'm currently living in Banff, but I wanted to come down and protest in support of Palestine and also against Trump being here for the G7.
So a bit of a dual mission. What's your main opposition with Trump being here for the G7?
Just everything that's going on in the States right now. I mean, he's man-child, and he's throwing himself a military parade while there's 2,100 counter protests against him going on all over the world right now. And all the stuff going on with ICE, and I don't think that has any place in Alberta. I don't think it has any place in Canada.
Right on. What's one thing you could say to our audience out there if you have anyone at home that maybe you want to mobilize, or little words of wisdom for them?
Yeah, I think it's at this point with everything going on, it's very important to speak out. I think it's very important to get out here and get active and voice your opinions and voice your support for the people that need it. I think it's a good thing to do, and now especially, it's really important, I'd say.
Right on, man. Well, we commend you for taking your time being out here today. We good? Welcome to the Overheard podcast. We're here at the Fenlands at the protest zone with Isa. Isa, why are you here today?
I'm a member of Migrante Alberta. We're an organization of Filipino migrant workers, and we're here to protest the G7.
Awesome. If you could say something to the G7 leaders specifically, what would it be?
It would be that, you don't hold the people's interests at heart. You're making decisions that impact migrants, that displace us, and also drive up the cost of living for everyday Canadians, everyday folks here in Banff and in the Bow Valley. And, you don't represent us. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing with us. With looks to me, anti-Russian protesters?
Anti-Russian protesters and pro-Ukraine protesters, and you are correct. It's very easy to interpret, I think, from the signs that it is a direction of our thought. Yes.
Absolutely. What could you say to the leaders of the G7 if you could speak to them directly?
I would like them to spend as much time on talking about how to resolve the war in Ukraine in such a way that actually addresses the issues that are on our signs. And signs are about ecocide in Ukraine, so there is a lot of damage that has been done to Ukraine already, environmental damage and other kind of damage, and Russian assets have to be Russian frozen assets, and other Russian assets to come have to be used for the purpose of rebuilding and restoring the environment and restoring this damage, even though I don't think it is possible to do super fast. And the other issue is children. I do research on Ukrainian children and on education in Ukraine. And there are hundreds of thousands of Ukrainian kids who are now either on occupied territories or stolen by Russia. Their parents were tricked into thinking that their children will be led to safety. Now they're not in safety. They are in Russia, where their identity being erased, and their prospect for life is abysmal because it's Russia, and a country that is very prominent for its human rights violations. And Another problem that is close to my heart is that these children have more chances for better life, that schools in Ukraine are rebuilt, and that children not study in shelters anymore. They're studying underground right now. In Kharkiv, for instance, city where I'm from, and I think it's horrible, and these kind of things have to be restored, and that Putin, who is eating kids, should not be invited to such events because it normalizes what he does in the world.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing your opinion with us today. And that's all we got for you today. Can we just get a see you next Tuesday before we cut out here?
See you next Tuesday.
And from yourself?
See you next Tuesday.
All right. Thanks. One last thing. Can we just get a see you next Tuesday from you?
See you next Tuesday.
Before we go, can we just get a see you next Tuesday?
See you next Tuesday.
Thank you. Before we go, can we just get a quick see you next Tuesday?
See you next Tuesday.
Hell yeah. We'll see you soon.